What the heck is going on, football fans? DF Stu here, bringing you another video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the roster we built on Thursday and do a review of how we performed in our contest. We're also going to take a look at the winning lineup to see if there's anything that we can learn to go forwards and better our strategies. But really, I'm probably just going to get mad at myself for not having way more Dalvin Cook exposure. I'm going to be posting weekly DFS content, so if you're into that kind of thing, hit that subscribe button, don't miss out. Hitting that like button also goes a long way to help me grow my channel. You can also find me on Twitter at DF_Stu, where I'll be in the trenches every Sunday morning helping you guys out with your fantasy football picks. Without further ado, let's go look at my Dalvin Cookless lineup. Looking back on this lineup, it's easy to start picking out where I went wrong. The weather dramatically affected the Las Vegas and Cleveland game, as Henry Ruggs and Kareem Hunt were fairly fantasy useless. As the weather reports came out Sunday morning, I actually did fade Hunt and Ruggs a lot in my other lineups because I was concerned. However, I felt it was important to keep this lineup since I did build it on YouTube. Ruggs did almost salvage his game, as he did catch one in the end zone, but his toe was just out of bounds. It's hard for me to be too upset about the Kareem Hunt pick. He was used on 17 of the 47 plays that Cleveland ran. 47 plays just simply isn't enough. My mini game stack of Burrow, Henry, and Boyd worked out okay. The big dogs still put up 20 points. It's just I should have been targeting Dalvin Cook at that price. I expected Tennessee to get ahead in this game, but that wasn't the case. The Bengals led for almost this entire game. Joe Burrow simply didn't have to make as many completions. I faded Justin Jefferson in most of my lineups. I was worried about the wind in this one as well, which ended up with me limiting my Davante Adams exposure as well. Dalvin Cook and Davante Adams were the only players to be owning in this game. Trey Burton at his low price was a fine pick in this spot. His touchdown actually came while lining up in the quarterback position, which is kind of why I touched on him in my first video. He and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are now actually tied in rushing touchdowns with 2 apiece. Burton also caught a ball that ended up on the 1-yard line, inches away from being a receiving touchdown. His fellow tight end teammate Jack Doyle also caught a touchdown. In an absolutely perfect world, we could have seen him hit 3 touchdowns this week. My Dolphins defense absolutely smashed. They were the number 1 defense on the slate. Priced at only $2,400, I hope this shows that picking defense in DFS it's just kind of a crapshoot. Don't get too invested into it. If you can pick a cheap defense to make your other positions look a lot better, do it. It pays off. And that brings me to the guy I whiffed on hard. Le'Veon Bell, man, this was supposed to be your moment, your revenge game against the Jets, the chance to take down Adam Gase. I made my thumbnails about you, for goodness sakes. You couldn't get it done for me, bud. I guess I can learn a pretty good DFS lesson out of this. Don't bet on emotion. Look at numbers, look at stats, model your projections off of them. Stop throwing emotion into the game. And that brings us to the big winner lineup of the week. Unfortunately, it wasn't mine. But I do think our overall strategy this week could have pointed us in this direction. I mean, just at first glance, 3 of my 5 guys are there. Boyd, Burton, and the Dolphins defense. This player did the same thing that we did. They looked at the 4 games that were going to have the highest over-unders for the week. Likely, they decided to entirely fade the Cleveland and Las Vegas game on Sunday morning, like I did for the most part. They targeted a quarterback plus the receiver, Wilson and Metcalf, and then a run back player. They went with Bourne in this game. Maybe they were also worried about the weather in the Green Bay and Minnesota game. They went with both running backs, a fair bet that game would mostly be on the ground given the winds. I wasn't even looking at Corey Davis this week, to be honest. But Corey Davis turned out to be a great person to pair with Tyler Boyd in that Cincinnati Titans game. If you take anything out of looking at this person's lineup, understand that correlation makes a lot of sense in daily fantasy sports. And just for fun, I wanted to take a look at my best lineup on the week. It's really not that pretty. I just have DK Metcalf, and I got the Dolphins D. I was all over Derrick Henry when I really should have been all over Dalvin Cook. But hopefully you can see the correlation that I was going for in this game. But that's going to be all for me in this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit about what it takes to actually build a winning lineup in daily fantasy sports. If you like this video, feel free to hit that subscribe button or hit that like button. It goes a long way to help me grow my channel. I'll be back tomorrow with my That's My Guy video. We're going to be looking at my top value plays for each position. But until then, DF Stu out.